Hello and welcome. I'm Patrick Curtis, Chief Monkey of Wall Street Oasis, and this is Monkey to Millions, a show where you get a front row seat as I mentor young students and professionals to try and help them break into their dream jobs. In the first cohort, you'll meet 4 students, all preparing for intense job interviews while trying to also balance a personal life and schoolwork. The goal of this show is to shine a light on the struggles of trying to break into competitive positions with a non-traditional background and to give you a roadmap for your own success. My hope is that as you get to know these 4 impressive students, you are inspired to dream big. Remember, these are real people and this is their true story. Let's get to it. In this session, we go over what Andrew has been up to since it's been a few months since our last session. He really put in a lot of work on his CFA investment contest, but not as much as I'd like on the networking side. I think part of this is because it's super hard to motivate when you already have a great internship lined up for the summer, but I'm still pushing him to try and reach higher, make more contacts, and even make the trip to New York, even though the school canceled because of coronavirus. In our next session, we'll do actually a mock interview, which he requested, and we'll get an update on if he thinks he can muster up the coordination and a big enough network to make a trip to New York worth it. Enjoy. All right, Andrew. I think this is like session 6 or 7 or something like that.
I think, yeah, because we started back in September or so. So yeah.
I'd love an update. Yeah, I mean, it's been what, a couple months?
I think mid-January was the last session. So kind of since then, I was a lot busier than I actually expected with like the CFA research challenge, and that I actually took up.
You've just been partying the entire time. Don't lie. Just kidding.
No, I only partied a few weekends, but they were good weekends.
Right.
But yeah, no, research challenge actually took up a ton of time. Like working in like the team of 4 that we had, it was kind of like on us to play catch up because me and my one friend were on internships in the fall, and we kind of received the case in like November. So all the other teams had started in November, so they got a head start basically, and we were playing catch up. So we finished our evaluation and pretty much whipped up like a whole industry report and equity research report for that. And then we had to present that in mid-February. We ended up winning the report, but losing on like the Q&A portion of the presentation. So that was kind of shitty. But then I don't know, like it was going to be like our ticket to New York, but so yeah, I'll move on to that after. So that was disappointing. And then
you were banking on winning that in order to try and pay for New York.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh
so
man.
Lost that, and then kind of just been going through midterms and working part-time like 3 or 4 days a week. So that's about it. So kind of backtracking to New York. So I'd started the networking grind there.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the Canadians weren't even like that receptive. I think they were more senior, and they kind of just, a lot of people I found that are more senior just don't check LinkedIn.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking maybe like the email route's going to be better.
Were you connected to them at least? Did they at least connect to you? Some of them.
Yeah, some of them.
But then doing the email cycle tends to get a better hit rate.
Yeah, that's what I found, at least
especially get them in the right inbox and you email 3 times. like, leave me alone. Fine. Let's do a call.
So I've been on that, and then
have you expanded past the Canadians though in New York?
Yeah, a bit. I actually got in touch with a guy who went to the school like pretty much in the same city as me. He's at Allianz private debt, and I hopped on like a 40-minute call with him.
Nice.
That was really good, and then he kind of just critiqued my resume even more. So
good.
I've got an updated version of that, and I can share that with you right now if you'd want.
Yeah, shoot it over.
Yeah.
So, do you want to go through it now?
Yeah, sure thing. Here, I'll just share screen.
So when is that trip? Is that trip coming up, or you didn't do it yet, right?
The trip is actually no longer happening because of the coronavirus. So that was really disappointing.
I didn't even yeah, I didn't even think of that.
So
I'm
that was,
so
yeah. So
that
they,
shows you what a bubble I'm in. Like, like just running a million miles an hour. I mean, yeah, it's starting to impact here. We have a state emergency in California.
yeah, no, I heard. So yeah, even if we had won the report, they aren't even going to New York anymore for it. They're doing a virtual presentation. So
What's going on in Canada with Corona? Anything up there?
I don't think it hasn't hit Atlantic, Canada. I think
Hmm.
it's in Vancouver
Right.
and a bit in Toronto. I think that's about it though.
Okay.
But if I'm traveling on a plane, I might have to grab myself a N95 mask. Um,
Yeah.
can you see my screen now?
It's funny because when I was traveling for a conference, I think it was in February, I was wearing a mask. I didn't, not for Corona, just because everyone was so sick with flu and I didn't want to bring anything home. People thought it
Yeah,
was a whack job, but I didn't care. I was kind of sick myself too. So,
yeah.
anyways, yeah, no, I see this is new, right?
This is the newest version.
It's nice.
I think I've got a lot of looks over it. Only thing I don't know is like the color. I saw one of my buddies put this burgundy on it, and I really liked it. So
It's kind of nice because
I thought I put it in.
it helps pop the sections a little bit. Yeah, I don't mind it. I'm not like I'm kind of indifferent. I don't
Hmm.
think it's a bad thing. Helps bring your eyes to the section headers, which is nice.
Hmm.
In terms of, it looks like the font's a little smaller.
I think it's like a 9 or 9.5.
Well, you got a lot of good stuff now, so I feel like it's okay. You got
Yeah,
the transaction experience. Um, the fund manager stuff, is that through the school?
yeah. That's through the school.
Yeah, I mean, we may be able to cut some of those to like one
Hmm.
line to give a little more air into the PSP.
Yeah, exactly. And then
To
maybe
get
bump the font a bit.
you don't even have to bump the font, but maybe give a little more white space in between, like Desjardins and then PSP, and then a little more
Yeah.
space below selected transaction experience, like above each of the sections. So like work experience is really kind of really tight on education, so it just gives you that
Hmm.
eye a little bit easier to follow even more. But the burgundy helps. Um, yeah, I don't mind that at all. I like that. And you could also get the Sobe School Business Accounting Society onto one line. It's like barely
Yeah,
wrapped in a
it's just
second.
going over. Yeah,
You can get creative.
I'll figure something out there.
Yeah. But yeah, that's the only thing is just a little more spacing. Other than that, it looks interesting. This idols thing.
Yeah, I actually saw. So my one good friend who's going into IB from the same school as me had that on there, and he had like I think it was like Jerry Jones from the Cowboys because he was a big Cowboys fan. I think he had like Sam Walton and a few other guys like that. So I figured I'm like, oh,
The only
why not?
risk about this is if you got to know these people well or have read their bios or something, like
Yeah, so
extensively.
well I know Arnold pretty well. John Gray decently well. So Robert Moses is actually like I think he's like one of the lead like he kind of like built New York, kind of like put out like the whole city planning for that and built like all the bridges. So I thought that was really cool. So I'm like 8 hours into like a 64-hour audiobook on him.
Nice.
And then Ricardo Vigon, I actually heard him in a podcast. He came from like a really poor family, I think in the Dominican, and he started like his own like real estate development company. Um, like just from like duplexes and triplexes, and then he kind of just scaled that, and now
Mhm.
he has like almost one of the biggest developments in Los Angeles. So that was a really cool story.
Yeah, and I see in your interests you got really more specific.
Yeah, that was. Oh, so one of the comments I can show you the comments later that the Allianz guy had. So whenever I had, what was it, the Michael Lewis um, book or whatever for authors, he was
Yeah.
like, personally, I've never met anyone that hasn't read Michael Lewis. So I'm like, oh well, I guess I better take that in.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's fair. I mean, that's a little bit of the thing. Like, I don't know. I've never listened to Jocko, but I've heard. Is it controversial at all? Like, or political at all?
Not really. It's more like leadership and like
Okay,
motivational topics that he
totally cool.
focuses on.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
great. That's great then. Yeah, just be careful with any like two political figures. You don't want
Yeah,
to
exactly.
go down that road. uh, okay, because there's obviously very strong opinions on both sides of the aisle. So
Hmm. Oh, for sure.
In terms of the rest of it, yeah, no, it looks really good, man. It's looking tight. I think PSP, you feel good about those two transaction experiences? Like you can talk in detail, like numbers.
Yeah, pretty decent. Like high level, I know the numbers.
And so I don't know a lot about like how real estate investments, how they'd be analyzed, but talking about returns to equity returns,
Yeah, it'd be
returns.
like IRR, MOIC, like
Yeah, knowing all
going in
that.
cap, exit cap.
Yeah, knowing all that like in pretty good
Yeah.
detail. Like yeah, I think it's good because it shows you've done some modeling, or at least you're inside
hmm
the model. Like if I asked you like, okay, on this SF multifamily portfolio, like what types of sensitivity analysis were you running? Like you should be ready for that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And then be able to like, well, what happened when the cap rate went down and da da da? What happened to
hmm
returns? How sensitive was it?
Yeah.
How what happened when we put on more debt
Yeah, exactly.
in the capital structure? So that would boost returns, right? Because your equity check's smaller if you're looking
Yeah.
at equity returns. So like just being able to kind of
It's just speak to the little facts and know them.
speak to the facts, but understand how like pulling different levers
Yeah.
give
How
me an
they
idea
affect
of what
everything. Yeah.
exactly how they affect everything. So it tells me like if you understand like what happens with more debt, what that does to returns on the equity side,
hmm
on like what's really an LBO, right? They're putting on debt on these acquisitions and they're writing
Yeah.
a smaller check. It's really just an LBO.
Exactly.
So if you can talk intelligently about how like what happened if the equity check's cut in half and you just are able to lever it up more, um, that would give me a little bit of comfort in that you kind of understand how the flows work,
hmm
and even what IRR is.
Exactly.
So okay, so Adventures in CRE. Okay, you started doing that for that 160-hour course. Have you finished that? Have you gotten through it?
I'm on like the last two
So you're busy with that stuff too, on top of school.
modules. So I'd be on like acquisitions developments, and then there's a final. Yeah, and then I'm also doing like a breaking into Wall Street like REIT modeling
Yep.
course too, because I was told I'm pretty much going to be sitting on like the real estate desk with like a little option to do whatever else there
This
is.
summer?
But
This summer, you mean?
yeah, but my VP was telling me that that's like the hottest sector that they have right now. So I figured I'd focus on
Yeah.
that.
Well, with rates where they're going, I don't think it's going to cool off. The other thing
No.
that's interesting, I mean, you got to ask yourself too, though, is that where you want to go? If it is, just go all in. You know what I
I
mean?
think I'm leaning more and more towards that
Yeah.
because like with my investment fund that I'm in now, like like one of the person I'm pretty much senior to didn't like do any of the work on the company that was kind of like assigned for her to pitch. So I pretty much had to go back and like piece everything together and do like an NAV model, present transactions, and like trading comps, and then write pretty much a whole report on it.
That's probably a really good experience for you.
Yeah, no, I pretty much whipped it up in like a weekend. I thought it was really good. So that was like a niche REIT. So they have like auto dealerships.
Mm.
Um, I looked at it a bit in the summer, but not really past that. But I think it's a pretty cool company. So like Brookfield actually took a similar American company private in 2014, and they're actually looking to make an exit soon. I actually just read in the news, so I think it's
That's
a
cool.
really cool sector.
That's really cool. Tell me a little bit about, so let's get a little bit more about to the networking in New York, even though
hmm
you're not making the trip.
Yeah.
Maybe things will clear up. Maybe not. Probably not. But what is it? March 6th today. Let's say end of April, people can travel. There's a lot less. I mean, you could still go there, right?
hmm
Just because. So what trip was the CFA trip was canceled? But does that mean your trip was canceled?
Yeah. So the trip that the school was going to pay for got canceled because it was going to be like on the same weekend.
How much would it cost you to get down to New York?
I haven't even looked into that. It's
Would you?
definitely worth looking up.
Could you take a bus?
I probably could. I
I've
don't.
seen,
I'd rather fly though.
there were people coming down from Toronto for like the WSO conference when we used to host those in New York
Yeah.
on like a 7-hour overnight bus or 8-hour overnight bus, whatever it was. And I'm just like, wow,
Yeah.
you guys are dedicated. Um, but yeah, I don't know how you're probably a little further, right?
Yeah, I'd have to look into that to see how far it would be.
And not necessarily doing it in the next month, but if you are networking pretty heavily and you can line up, say, 20 or 30 meeting, even just 20 meetings with people, even if it's real estate focused,
hmm
um, like a Brookfield, like a Blackstone, maybe some people there. And
Yeah.
it doesn't even have to be Canadians, whatever, it can be anybody. Um, Specifically, you might be able to just hop on a bus, get down
hmm
there, crash on somebody's couch for a week, maybe late April, early May before you start. The internship starts when?
It's like May 4th, so it's pretty tight timing.
And when do you get done with class and
Like
finals?
April 22nd.
You have a week.
Yeah.
It has to be that week.
It's gonna
What's the
have to be.
what's the plan during that week? Do you have to move anywhere? Move your stuff out?
Um, Kind of just be like pack stuff to go, and so I'm gonna be like living in residence, and I can't move in till the day before the internship starts.
So where are you going to put all your stuff?
Well,
Or
I'm subletting from one of my good friends right now, so I kind of pretty much have to just move all of it to the curb, is what he told me. So there's nothing really. So it's pretty easy for me. I'd say that'd definitely be doable. It kind of just be figuring out logistics and getting that list
what if,
together.
so like, okay, you're going to be starting, sorry, May 4th.
Yeah, the Monday.
So here, why don't you stop sharing your screen so I can get to my
Yeah,
screen because I want to look at dates. Here we go. So May 4th, that Monday, you're finished finals on the 20th,
it's 22nd.
22nd, but that gives you actually
That's
over
more than a week.
10 days.
Yeah.
So let's say you finish finals on the 22nd. You pack up, you're out of there by the 24th, Friday,
Yep.
or like you put it in storage, whatever you have to do. You hop on a bus with like a backpack, or like a duffel bag. You get there by like Sunday morning
Yeah.
or whatever, or you fly Sunday early. And then literally that whole week, you could just literally knock out 30 meetings, 30 information
hmm
meetings. Sounds crazy, but I think it'd be such an amazing investment for your
Yeah.
career,
No, for sure.
making those face-to-face connections. Um, because otherwise, the alternative is not a bad alternative, but the alternative is you do your internship in Toronto, you're in real estate, you're locked in. That's it. Like you're going real estate. You're probably going to go full time with them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's gonna be a little you can do. Whereas if you take that week and you go there and you meet 30, 40 people, I mean, you could even, if you do 10 a day, 10's pretty aggressive. Say you do
hmm
5 to 6 a day, like say 30 aggressively, 20 on the low end, if you're spending a whole week there. Um, like you could have fun and party in New York too. It's not like you have to do it all, you know what I mean? It's not like you have to
Yeah.
get crazy, but um, I think if you were to do that, it's almost like there'd probably be one or two people that would end up being really important contacts out of that group
Yeah.
that let's say come near the end of your internship or midway through when you get an offer, you give them an update and they're like, actually, we have an opening or like,
hmm
want you to come down. It might actually be a way to get you to New York in a real estate fund.
Yeah. No, for
So,
sure.
I mean, that's the question you have to ask yourself. You don't do the trip and then
Mhm.
you're, you're basically more likely just to end up in Toronto.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful city. I love Toronto. Um, or you give yourself a shot at getting down to New York by meeting some people face to face. Now, it's not like if you don't go, there's no chance you end up in New York. I just think
I think it'd be tougher for sure
it's gonna be
because you
tough.
don't have that connection. Like over the phone is it's not the same
Yeah, and
as in
people aren't
person.
hopping on like Skype chats or Zoom chats like this with like
No.
for a networking call. You know what I mean?
No.
And so meeting
Exactly.
face to face is just so much more powerful. Because especially with it allowing you to follow up once you get that offer, or let's say like worst case scenario, you don't get an offer, that becomes even more important. You know, a little bit of
hmm
downside protection. Something happens, something goes wrong with them, they don't have as many offers to give for whatever reason, they overhired, the economy, we go into a recession,
hmm
that type of things. Which there's some warning signs out there.
Yeah.
With the corona, you never know, like it could really throw us into a recession. So
hmm
Yeah. I would encourage you to go. I would really encourage you to go. Like, I think about like my kids and like what I do. I'd be like, man, all I'm going to teach them is how to like meet people and talk with people.
Yeah,
Because it's so much about just like making a good impression, being humble, being kind, helping people where you can, and then just meeting as many people as humanly possible and just
no, for
having
sure.
curiosity. And that's going to make people like you. It's going to make people want to help you. So and you're developing the skills now. You're putting in the work to understand real estate. So if you are honing in on real estate, New York's a great place for that, man.
Hmm. No, for sure.
It's a great place. There's a lot of strong real estate funds there, aren't there?
Hmm.
I mean, you probably know better than I do about the space. So I don't know.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on that? Do you think it's too crazy with just only 1 week or 10 days in between?
Um, it's not like that crazy. It's doable. I think it's the part now is just getting the list and just pretty much setting those meetings up.
You have 2 months.
Yeah.
And the other thing is, even if you get there, it's very different a message when you get there on Sunday night. You send out 60 emails for over 2 to 3 hours, just being like, hey, I'm in town. I'd love to grab coffee sometime this week. I'm free in these blocks of times.
Hmm.
Do any of those times work for you? And like, I'm here is very different from I'm going to be there and da, da, da.
Yeah.
Like, I'm actually here now. And you'll get stood up. You'll get, all that stuff.
Yeah. I think I heard one of the podcasts that you did where the guy was just like
He was like coughing
he
around.
double booked it or something like that. And he's like, oh, I can't make it now. Yeah.
Yeah. So it happens, like that type of hustle, but that type of hustle really goes a long way. And like, you could be here in 2 or 3 years. You might be like, oh my gosh, that one meeting that I had with that person, that trip to New York, it like changed everything.
Yeah.
Um, and given that there's no work visa issues, there's no reason why to limit yourself kind of to just settle, uh,
Hmm.
and not broad on your reach. Cause it's maybe kind of the last chance you have. Cause right. This is your kind of your junior year internship now. Right.
Yeah.
So with how crazy accelerated recruiting comes, like by the end of this summer, what's going to happen is all the offers are going out. And so where are there gaps or where are there, you need to be in the know, you need to be connected to people directly so that they give you the heads up.
Hmm.
Oh, actually, no, there's no spots here, but this firm over here. Oh, and you're like, shit, I spoke to somebody there. This is awesome.
Hmm.
And then you're like, boom, you send them saying,
Oh, for
hey, I
sure.
heard from XYZ that there might be an opening here. I'm just completing my internship. I have a return offer, but I figured it was worth a chat with you guys.
Yeah, exactly.
So, how else can I help, man? It sounds like it's a lot of just planning and all right. So you've been super busy with the CFA thing. Is that on your resume at all? I didn't see it.
I think it's under like extracurriculars, report winner, CFA Atlantic Research Challenge,
Okay.
um, with the ticker.
Got it. Okay. And you're ready to talk about that since you did a lot of the work.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool. Um, Specifically around just next steps and around this kind of getting those meetings scheduled.
Hmm.
How many people in New York are you even connected to right now?
I'd say
Around.
like 20 to 30.
Yeah, it's way too low.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to make 20, 30 meetings, you need to be connected to like at least
100,
60.
200.
No, like 600, 700.
Okay.
Cause just law of numbers, dude. You're not going to get a 10% meeting rate. You'll get a 10% maybe call rate.
Hmm.
You'll get more like a 2 or 3% meeting rate probably.
Yeah.
That's not bad if you do that. So like, I think looking at, let me check your LinkedIn just to see how many total connections you're up to now.
I think I might be like right at 500, maybe like 501.
Yeah, dude, I would tell you to get super aggressive. Like just
Start getting like at least 1,000 by the time I try to leave.
well, think about this. You can do 100 a day.
Hmm.
And like it doesn't have to be like super specific and tailored to every single one. You
Yeah.
do a search. So like, let me share my screen. I'll show you what I mean. Like, I think we went over this and you've been super busy, so I'm not going to rag on you and give you shit for like not being all over this and growing it because you've been busy. And you already have an internship, so I get it. It's a little harder to motivate.
Yeah.
But like, let me just share my screen and show you like an example. So if I go here, I go into just even not even paying for, do you have sales nav or no?
No.
Okay. Not even paying for that. If you go to people, and you go to all filters, and we go to
New York.
Greater New York, and we go to investment banking, and then real estate, commercial real estate, maybe.
Mm-hmm. Or maybe investment management as well.
Yeah. Perfect. And then you do like apply. You could do, you could actually start with all filters. Too many people here. So you even start with like, get rid of real estate. Do second degree for yourself and see who comes up. Like I have 20,000 people. It's like way too many. So you could get specific about the types of firms.
Yeah.
Do you get like a list of firms and literally put it in?
Just in the filter.
Yeah, in terms of companies, because I think you can add a bunch. So like, what was one? Brookfield?
Yeah, Brookfield.
Asset management here?
Yeah.
Or there's another one.
Properties as well.
Yeah. So like just an example. So 7 people here, 31 second degree. So for you, it could be first or second degree. See who you're already connected to. But if you're trying to build just the list, obviously do second or third degree.
Yeah.
Just go crazy. Just like connect, request, copy, paste.
Yeah.
Hey, Sean, looks like you're really just change the name. You could do 100 a day in about 30 seconds. Under an hour, man. Easily.
Yeah.
And then
I think the motivation's definitely been on the low end, but I don't know, like
well, I mean, is there a
like,
way let's do something more realistic. Is there a way we could carve out a time so you're working out?
Well, I mean, I was saying like it was on the low end, but kind of after I started like pretty much finishing the juniors work, like I feel a lot more like motivated to like actually do stuff. I don't know. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, I mean, you're just saying you have time now, or you're just like you feel more confident about what you did.
I feel like kind of like both because I'm done the CFA stuff. Like I know I can build out like the REIT schedules, like even single property stuff pretty well.
So like my only point to you is the time period between now and this summer. So like literally the next 5 months will literally change your entire career trajectory. It will literally, I'll say that again. It will literally change your entire career trajectory these 5 months. So you have the shot of like going for the top end real estate funds in New York at, these very well-known places and getting a blue chip stamp on your resume of a really top place that could lead to other incredible opportunities. Or you can go to a boutique and do really well and have a great career there as well. But like I say, like, if you had the motivation, it's not even that much work in terms of specifically taking the time to just connect with people. It's like a funnel. So what you do is you connect to, let's say, okay, you don't want to do 100 a day. I think you could do 100 a day in under an hour. I think you could do 100 a day in about half an hour. You're like, click, click, click. I'm thinking like 1 minute. So yeah, okay, maybe an hour. If you spend like 30-ish seconds per one.
Change the name and their position and stuff. Yeah.
Not even the position. Don't even write that. It'll take too long. So for like Jason, you're like, I don't know.
Hey, Jason.
Hey, Jason. Was hoping to connect. Have an internship in what do you want to call it? Real estate IB this summer already. Just wanted to learn more about Brookfield.
Yeah.
Brookfield, and you can start with that. I wouldn't even say potentially meet up because then it's kind of a big ask.
Yeah.
Based on your impressive background.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. President, I have an internship in real estate every December. Just want to learn more about Brookfield.
If you have the time to chat.
As I head into that internship, given that no, don't even say this. So I just want to learn more about Brookfield. In your path, period.
Mm-hmm.
So you could do, Andrew, something like that. Here, I'll copy and paste this.
Yeah.
And just send it over to you. Stop sharing. Here. So where's the chat here? So like basically something like that where it's not going to take too much of actual thing. The good thing about you dropping that you already have an internship is you're not going to be like, oh, this kid's asking for an internship.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's important, I think, to get in there. The other thing is so if you did that, I think you're changing two things, the name in Brookfield, the company name, the first name and the company name.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. So that means copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Each one could take you like actually 15 seconds. So if you're doing 15 seconds each, you're doing 4 a minute. It's 30 minutes, dude. 30 minutes for 100 a day.
Mm-hmm.
It's really tedious, but it's 30 minutes. Just jam out on some good tunes and
yeah,
and just like boom, 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 boom. And like I think where the magic will happen is where you start getting better at like figuring out what companies you want to target. Be careful about you got to be a little careful about not hitting everybody up at Brookfield at the same time.
Yeah.
So you may not want to do it by city. You may want to do it by industry and just get a little more specific about something else like the school they went to or something else.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
But I would encourage you to do it, man, because there's such low. You could have a great time in New York for a week. Do you like? Have you been in New York?
No.
Dude, you go to New York for a week. Do you have any friends there?
Not that I know of. So I don't know. Just grab an Airbnb or something like that.
Yeah, it's expensive. So, but you could even do something up in like Queens or like Brooklyn and just take the train into the city. I mean,
yeah,
I'll give you a little taste. I'll give you a little taste of what it'd be like to live there. It's a little crazy.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's huge and it's loud and it's exciting. It's fun. But I think it'd be a fun adventure. You can even just go for 5 days if you don't want to make it a whole week.
Yeah.
But I think if you got Monday through Sunday through Saturday or something like that, so you could potentially even some people may be willing to meet on the weekend. I think you'd get a good hit rate, but I think in order to do that, you really need to get your connections in New York up to, from 30 up to closer to 1,000.
Yeah.
Because just the number of people who are going to ignore you, the number of people who are going to stand you up, like you should go for 50 scheduled meetings because it's going to end up being 20.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want you to make that whole trip down there, spend, $1,000 or whatever it'll be. That's if you do it really cheap. Probably more like a couple thousand. I don't want you doing that and then having 10 meetings.
Yeah, exactly.
So, I don't know. You up for it?
Yeah.
Are you stressed with school? Do you feel like that half hour, maybe not even a half hour, maybe you do 15 minutes a day and you do 50
I think I can definitely get the LinkedIn.
Well, let's say like only 20% of the people will connect with you.
Mm-hmm.
And let's say you do 100 a day and only 20 connect with you. It's going to take you a while. 20 times 30, that's 600 a month.
Mm-hmm.
It will take you almost, if you only do 50 a day, maybe tough to get up to that 1,000 to get the full thing. So like you'd have to start basically now.
Yeah.
But again, I don't think it's a massive time commitment every day. I think it's like be like 7 a.m. to 7:15 a.m. before I hit the gym or whatever you do in the morning.
Yeah.
Or before I go to bed at night, and I'm just gonna go boom, 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 just get through these. And you just make it a habit every day before you go to bed.
Mm-hmm.
to just build that network. Because then and guess what, man? Even if you go to Toronto and it doesn't lead to anything or you don't meet anybody, that's never going to hurt you to be connected to these people and keeping them updated and doing, even if it's just calls and even if you don't make the trip to New York, it's still going to massively benefit you later to have more conversations than less.
Yeah, for sure.
So getting people from a complete stranger to an acquaintance to an acquaintance that actually likes you. That's the goal.
For sure.
An acquaintance that likes you, that is in a place where you may want to end up one day, or maybe they go start their own real estate fund. They're like, oh, and you give them an update on where you're at. And they're like, actually, starting this other thing. I already have 300 million lined up. I need an analyst. You want to come?
Yeah, exactly.
Boom, you're off to the races. So anything I can help with, man, besides this stuff and annoying you and pressuring you to do more?
Nothing really in particular. Did you saw the new LinkedIn or whatever? I don't think it really changed too much.
Yeah, let me take a look. So yeah, tell me what you changed, if anything. Just more stuff around the...
Yeah, I think just a little bit more stuff. Do you think I should add more wording into job descriptions, or that doesn't really matter that much?
I'd remove the tax auditor thing as the top thing on your...
Just take that out?
Yeah, I would take it out.
Yeah.
You don't want audit to be the lead thing that people see.
Yeah.
On your LinkedIn resume.
Got it.
I think it's fine down here.
Yeah, okay.
It's just not adding a lot. I think a little bit more on the skill development. Let me see here. LBO modeling, you'd have a little bit here. Financial modeling. Put the new one that you just joined, the CRE.
Yeah.
You could even, if you can get it under education instead of licenses certifications somehow, I think that might be good.
For the CRE?
For both, for all just the modeling and the...
Okay.
You can put it up in education and kind of have it underneath your St. Mary's.
Yeah.
It's kind of the second thing they see as oh, okay, this guy's serious about financial modeling, and he's self-studying. I think that's a good kind of signal as well. For this about section, I don't know, can you hear me right now?
Maybe we just cut out for a second.
Yeah, we cut out for a sec. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, all good.
Yeah, I was going to say on your about section, be careful referring to yourself as the in the third person. I know it's awkward, but I would just say I'm currently pursuing. I'm estimated graduated in 2021 in May. Currently pursuing a bachelor's. I would just say here, instead of saying Andrew.
Yeah.
Because it just sounds like somebody did this for you or whatever.
Sounds awkward,
it says, hey, it doesn't sound super awkward. It's just, you want to just remember, just the humble factor almost goes further than, especially when you're young.
Mm-hmm.
You don't need to impress anybody when you're an undergrad, overly impress. You just want to show that you're putting in the time to learn, you're humble, you're hungry. And I think that tends to go over a lot better than trying to impress. And then just having the right signals. That's why I'm okay, don't put audit near the top. Maybe they'll think you want to be an auditor.
Mm-hmm.
No,
for sure. Makes more sense.
Yeah. The rest of this looks pretty good, I think. How else can I help, man? So besides this, is there anything else?
Honestly, not really. Do you think it would be worth it to maybe next month to do a full mock interview that I may be able to get for the difficulty that would be for full time?
Yes.
You know what I mean? I think that would be better, because I think there's a lot more potential for that, and I'd rather be
room for growth. Rather than me keep hounding you on networking.
Yeah, and I'd rather be a lot more prepped and polished for that, I think.
100%. I agree. Mm-hmm. I think there's probably a lot of work we could do there.
Yeah, I think behavioral the most, because I know that's probably what cost me a lot.
Yeah, especially if you're trying to bullshit.
Yeah,
If you try to
Exactly.
bullshit too much or try to over polish it or make it sound too, you're not real enough,
Hmm.
it can really mess you. It could totally screw your chances.
Yeah.
So it's finding
Yeah.
that balance of being like professional enough and real enough.
Hmm. Oh, for
I
sure.
I think is important. So yeah, I'd love to do that. So let's put that on the next thing of like, let's make it like 20-minute mock interview and then
Yeah.
feedback right after.
Yeah.
I think we did that early on in like session 2 or 3, right? Right before a PE interview or something.
No, I think it was like right before I got my offer. Like it was literally the day. I think it was the one we just put out like a few weeks ago.
Okay.
I think it was like 2 days before I got the offer. Funny enough, but I think just having it fresh
Hmm.
would be a lot better for me.
You think because you're going to get interviews during the summer?
Potentially, and even if not, just to have like a base that I can watch myself going through the answers on.
Yeah, it's really helpful to actually see the video. Do you have I asked Grace to send me this. Did you ever send me a list of your stories?
Um, I don't think I ever did. It would be like the tell me about a time when like
Tell me about
like
a
pretty
time when
much.
X anything. Tell me about a time
Yeah.
when you struggled. Tell me about a time when you disagreed with somebody in a group. Tell me about it. But the key
Hmm.
here is I want you to have between 5 and 7 stories ready.
And then you just go to any interview and have those ready to pull. Yeah.
Have those ready to pull. So like you're polished. You're not like thinking like, what could I tell them for this?
Mm.
It's just like immediate as they're asking the question, you're going through your list of stories thinking which one, this is this one. And boom, you
Hmm.
just grab it and you go.
Yeah.
So there's
I
no
think yeah. I'll
hesitation.
start. I'll start getting that together.
That's super important, actually. That list. I would push you to do 7 stories if you can. I think with the CFA one
Yeah.
is a great one. Like you having to step in to do work,
Hmm.
and how you dealt with that, and not acting like the hero and like I did it all and but talking more about how you communicated with
Hmm.
it and how you made it so that you guys all put the work product out together. And
Hmm.
even though there were some people in the group that didn't you know, pull their weight, it was still not done in a way that made them feel bad. And it was
Hmm.
that kind of thing.
Yeah. For sure.
Little nuances like that, I think, are really important, and how you communicate about how you talk about that stuff. They definitely take note.
Hmm. Okay.
So can you get me like a Google Doc with that, like linked, like with just like, these are my stories, and can you do it in the star format? Do you know what that is?
Yeah. This situation, task,
Action,
action,
result.
result. Yeah.
Exactly. Do
Oh,
it
for sure.
exactly like that. Situation, task, what you were tasked with, what action did you take, and what was the result?
Hmm.
So that you're really organized with how you structure it. Otherwise, sometimes you end up telling a story, you start rambling, you start going off on tangents, and it makes you seem disorganized in your thoughts.
Hmm.
Kind of like I'm doing these calls right here.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
No, we'll get that together.
okay, cool. And then I think that'll help with your prep for the mock interview. Do you
Hmm.
want any technicals at all?
Um, I'm not
I
sure. Like, if
DCF,
any
walk me through
technicals,
DCF and
I
valuation.
think if any technicals, I think it would be like the PE ones, or if it were like a three statement walkthrough with not depreciations, it would be like, I think there's one that I got in my PE interview. It was like, we buy this asset here with this much
Mhm.
debt. This is the rate. Um, walk through like 2 years worth of it. So I think that would be like a really tough one, but I don't know. I feel like some like PE level questions would be a lot better.
I love those. I can definitely hang on that. Okay. So yeah, let's plan on that next month.
Mm-hmm.
In the meantime, if you can go from your 500 contracts up to about
1,000,
1,500.
1,500. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. So that LinkedIn, the CRE, maybe breaking into Wall Street. Um,
Yeah, dude, advertise it. If you're putting in the work, advertise it.
yeah. No, for sure.
Don't say like expert in this. Just list it.
Yeah.
Then you can say how many hours you've spent.
And you think I listed in the correct way on the resume there?
Yeah, I think that looked good for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, your resume is looking really good. Just it's a little tight right now, so I'd you could
Take
get
off
some
a few
things.
unnecessary lines.
Yeah, you can get some things down a little bit and give a little just space. You don't have to change the font because that'll mess everything up, but you can give just a little more space above each of the sections. So it's not so like somebody looks at it and they're like, oh my gosh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, sounds good.
Sometimes less is more, right?
Oh, for sure.
So you're really just hitting on the highlights and the stuff that looks the best and is most relevant.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think that's it then, huh, man?
Yeah. Yeah, no, sounds good.
For this month. Yeah, always feel free to Skype me or whatever if there's any other questions in the meantime. I sent you, did you see that message I sent you about the Canadian banks? There was an AMA. It was a second year analyst.
Really?
At a
okay. Yeah. Got it.
Just an interesting discussion if you wanted to ask him or her.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
So
awesome.
Cool, man. All right. Well, we'll leave it at that. Let me know if I can help any other way in the meantime. Your resume is looking good. It sounds like you're fine on your classes and stuff. You're keeping your GPA up.
Yeah.
So it's really just a question of just carving out 15, 20 minutes a day on the networking side so that even if you're not going to make the trip, you at least try to do 30 to 50 calls before with New York people.
Mm-hmm.
I encourage you to do the trip though, man. It'll be unforgettable. Do you have the funds to make that trip?
Yeah, I should.
Okay. Okay. Because I think that's the real question is, can you find an Airbnb that's cheap enough or in the outer boroughs or whatever?
I think so. I can figure something out.
Okay. Cool, man. All right. Let's stay in touch. Good luck with this month. And then, next month we'll do a little mock.
Perfect.
Cool, man. Chat soon.
Then. All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
And thanks to you, my listeners at Wall Street Oasis. If you have any suggestions whatsoever, please don't hesitate to send them my way, Patrick at wallstreetoasis.com. Until next time.